A brand new 2025 Sea Ray 23-foot boat sits on a dealer lot with a price tag slashed by $18,000. 3 months ago, it wore a sticker of $69,000. Today it is marked at $51,000. Across Florida, Texas, and the Great Lakes, dealers are dropping prices on 2025 models faster than they have moved inventory in a decade. Boats that should be commanding premium prices are getting cleared out like last season's leftovers. Some lots are offering 0% financing for 72 months. Others are throwing in trailer upgrades, extended warranties, anything to move metal. This is not a sale, it is a scramble. Why are brand new 2025 boats losing value before anyone even puts them in the water? What changed so fast that dealers would rather take a loss than hold on to inventory? For decades, boat buying followed a simple rhythm. Dealers ordered inventory in fall and winter. Models arrived in spring. Buyers showed up in April and May with pre-approvals and trade-ins. By July 4th, half the lot was sold. By Labor Day, dealers knew exactly what to discount for end-of-season clearance. The model year system worked like clockwork. A 2024 model bought in the summer of 2023 held its value through the season. Depreciation was predictable, 15% in the first year, 10% in the second year. Buyers understood this. So did lenders. Dealers kept inventory lean. They ordered what they could sell in 90 days. Floor plan interest was cheap, usually under 4%. Even if a boat sat an extra month, the carrying cost was manageable. The whole system ran on timing, trust, and low rates. That predictable cycle created stability. Buyers knew when to shop for deals. Dealers knew when to order. Manufacturers knew how much to build. Everyone played the same game by the same rules. But that rhythm disappeared 18 months ago, and it hasn't come back. The first crack appeared in early 2023 when the Federal Reserve pushed interest rates past 7%. Overnight, floor plan financing that dealers use to stock their lots jumped from 3.5% to 9%. That's the rate dealers pay monthly on every unsold boat sitting in their inventory. A $60,000 boat that used to cost a dealer $175 a month in interest suddenly cost $450. Multiply that across 40 boats on a lot, and carrying costs tripled. Dealers who once could afford to wait for the right buyer now had a clock ticking louder every week. At the same time, manufacturers were still operating on 2021 production schedules. They had ramped up capacity during the buying frenzy and kept pushing units through the system. Build slots that were booked 2 years earlier were still being filled even as demand cooled. By mid-2024, dealers were receiving boats they had ordered in the heat of the boom, but now had to sell in a market that had turned cold. Inventory levels climbed to 4 months of supply, then 5, then 6 months. The industry standard is 90 days. Anything beyond that becomes a problem. And 2025 models arrived into that backlog like a pileup on a foggy highway. A mid-sized dealership in North Carolina ordered 12 2025 Yamaha and Sea Ray models in November 2023. The order was based on strong 2022 and 2023 sales. The dealer put down deposits, locked in build slots, and expected delivery by spring 2024. The boats arrived in April. But by then, foot traffic had dropped 30% compared to the previous year. Financing applications were being declined at twice the normal rate. Buyers who did show up were offering $10,000 to $15,000 under asking price and walking away when dealers held firm. By August, the dealers still had 9 of those 12 boats. Floor plan interest on each unit was running $500 a month. That was $4,500 in monthly carrying costs just to keep them sitting there. Over 4 months, the dealer burned through $18,000 in interest alone. The math became brutal. To move the boats, the dealer dropped prices by $12,000 to $16,000 per unit. On a $70,000 boat, that is a loss of nearly 23% before it ever touched water. The dealer took the hit, cleared 7 of the 9, and ate a loss of over $90,000 on the batch. That scenario is playing out at dealerships from Seattle to Miami. The roots of this crisis go back to 2020 and 2021. Boat sales exploded during lockdowns. People wanted outdoor space, family activities, and escape. First time, buyers flooded showrooms. Dealers sold everything they had and begged manufacturers for more. In 2021, the industry moved 330,000 new powerboats. That was the highest number in over a decade. Manufacturers responded by adding shifts, expanding facilities, and locking in supplier contracts. Dealers pre-ordered aggressively, confident the demand would hold. Our manufacturers built 2023 inventory based on 2021 sales. Then they built 2024 inventory based on 2022 sales. The pipeline stayed full because everyone assumed the boom was permanent. Even as financing tightened and buyer sentiment cooled in late 2022, the machine kept running. By the time 2025 models entered production in mid-2024, the signals were clear. Sales were slowing, inventory was stacking up. But manufacturers had commitments to suppliers, labor contracts, and dealer orders placed a year earlier. Turning off production mid-cycle would have cost millions in penalties and layoffs. So the boats kept coming, dealers kept receiving them. And the inventory glut that started as a minor issue in 2023 became a full-blown crisis by 2025. Floor plan financing is the lifeblood of boat dealerships. It allows them to stock inventory without paying cash up front. They pay interest monthly until the boat sells. When rates were low, this system worked beautifully. At 3%, a dealer could carry a boat for 6 months without sweating. But at 9% interest, the math flips. A dealer with $2 million in inventory now pays $15,000 a month just in interest. That's $180,000 a year in carrying costs before selling a single unit. Dealers who used to hold out for full price now need to move units fast just to bleeding. Auction activity tells the story. Wholesale boat auctions saw volume increase 47% in 2024 compared to 2023. Dealers are offloading inventory at below cost just to free up credit lines. Some 2024 models are selling at auction for 20 to 25% below original MSRP. Repo activity has also climbed. Lenders repossessed 11,000 boats in 2024, up from 7,200 in 2023. Those repos flood the used market and put even more pressure on new inventory. Why would a buyer pay $60,000 for a new boat when a 1-year-old repo with 50 hours sells for $42,000? The spiral feeds itself. High rates force discounts. Discounts shrink margins. Tight margins force more dealers to offload at auction. And the cycle continues. Modern boats are more advanced than ever. Digital switching, integrated touchscreens, joystick docking, and networked systems are now standard on mid-range models. These features attract buyers, but they also create new problems. When something goes wrong, repairs get complicated. A failed CAN bus module on a 2025 Bayliner can cost $1,200 to replace. Lead time for the part is 6 to 8 weeks. The boat sits. The owner gets frustrated. The dealer eats the cost of a loaner or rental to keep the customer happy. Technician shortages make it worse. Marine service departments are running 8 to 12 weeks behind scheduled work. When a brand new boat needs warranty service, it joins the same backlog as 10-year-old used boats. Buyers who expected their new 2025 model to be flawless end up waiting 2 months for a technician to diagnose an electrical gremlin. These delays hurt real value. So a boat with a known issue, even if it is covered under warranty, sells for 5 to 10% less than a clean example. Buyers see the service records and walk away. Dealers see the pattern and become hesitant to stock complex models. Manufacturers are stuck. Buyers want the latest tech, but that tech introduces failure points that were not an issue 5 years ago. And every failure chips away at confidence in new inventory. The pressure is not hitting every brand equally. Entry-level brands like Bayliner and Sea Ray are seeing the deepest discounts. These models target first-time buyers, and that segment has nearly vanished. Financing requirements tightened. Down payments jumped from 10% to 20%. Buyers who qualified in 2022 no longer clear underwriting in 2025. Mid-range brands like Chaparral and Four Winds are stuck in the middle. They are too expensive for entry buyers, but not premium enough to justify $60,000 to $80,000 price tags when used options flood the market. Dealers report 20 to 30% price cuts on 2025 mid-range inventory just to generate interest. Premium brands like Boston Whaler and Grady White have held up better, but they are not immune. High net worth buyers can still finance, but even they are negotiating harder. A $15,000 discount on a $130,000 boat is now common. That would not have happened 2 years ago. Pontoon boats are the only segment showing relative strength. They are affordable, versatile, and appeal to families. Dealers report pontoons moving in 60 to 90 days, while runabouts and bow riders sit for 6 months. Some dealers have shifted orders almost entirely to pontoons just to keep cash flowing. Center consoles and fishing boats sit somewhere in between. Serious anglers still buy, but recreational buyers have pulled back. Dealers with heavy inventory in dual console family fishing boats are offering steep incentives to clear space. For buyers who purchased in 2023 or early 2024, the value collapse is painful. A buyer who financed $70,000 on a 2024 model now owns a boat worth $52,000 on trade. They are $15,000 to $18,000 underwater on a loan with 4 years remaining. Some are walking away. Voluntary repossessions jumped 29% in 2024. Borrowers realize they will never climb out of negative equity and hand the keys back to the bank. That decision wrecks credit for years, but it stops the financial bleeding. Others are stuck. They cannot sell without writing a check for the difference between the loan balance and market value. They cannot trade up. So they hold on, make payments, and hope the market recovers. Many have stopped using the boat altogether. It sits in storage, an expensive reminder of bad timing. First-time buyers who wanted to enter the market in 2025 are paralyzed by fear. They see values dropping and worry they will get trapped the same way. Even with 0% financing offers, they are waiting for a clear bottom. That hesitation keeps inventory stagnant. Dealers are suffering too. Thin margins mean layoffs. Service departments that used to run 3 shifts are down to 1. Sales staff who made 6 figures in 2021 are now scraping by on base salary. Some veteran dealers with 30 years in the business are closing their doors. Marinas are feeling the squeeze. Slip rentals are down 12% compared to 2023. Boats that used to go out every weekend now sit covered and unused. Owners who are underwater on loans cannot afford fuel, insurance, and slip fees on top of monthly payments. Dry storage facilities are full. They are full of boats that owners do not want to sell at a loss, but also do not want to use. Storage lots in Florida and California are reporting 90 to 95% capacity, but turnover is nearly zero. Boats are not moving in or out. They are just sitting. Service yards have a backlog of work, but much of it is deferred maintenance on older boats. Owners of new 2024 and 2025 models are delaying upgrades and elective service to save cash. Yards that used to install $10,000 in electronics and upgrades per boat are now doing oil changes and winterizations. Coastal towns that depend on boating traffic are noticing the slowdown. Waterfront restaurants, fuel docks, and marine supply stores are reporting softer sales. When fewer boats are on the water, fewer people stop for lunch, fuel, or gear. The ripple effect extends to manufacturers. Reduced dealer orders for 2026 models mean production cuts, furloughs, and supplier cancellations. Towns built around boat plants are bracing for layoffs. The market is approaching a fork. One path leads to a reset. The other leads to a reckoning. In the reset scenario, dealers clear inventory over the next 6 months. Prices stabilize at the new lower level. Financing rates drop back towards 6% by late 2025. Buyers who have been waiting see the bottom and jump in. The spring 2026 season starts with lean inventory, reasonable prices, and renewed confidence. Manufacturers adjust production to match realistic demand. The cycle corrects itself. Signs of a reset include inventory levels dropping below 4 months, auction prices stabilizing, and foot traffic returning to showrooms. If repo rates flatten and financing approval rates improve, the worst is over. In the reckoning scenario, prices keep falling. Dealers who cannot outlast the pressure close their doors. Banks tighten lending standards even further. Repos continue climbing into 2026. Used inventory floods the market and suffocates demand for new boats. Manufacturers idle plants and cut shifts. The industry contracts by 20 to 30% and does not recover for years. Signs of a reckoning include inventory climbing above 6 months, auction prices dropping another 10%, and major dealerships filing bankruptcy. If the spring 2025 selling season is weak, despite deep discounts, the correction is far from over. Which future arrives depends on the next 6 months. Inventory aging tells the story. If dealers across the country are still sitting on 2025 miles by April, the reset has not happened yet. Inventory should turn over every 90 days in a healthy market. Anything beyond that signals continued pressure. Auction prices reveal the truth. Wholesale values are the canary in the coal mine. If auction results keep dropping month over month, retail prices will follow. When auction prices stabilize for 2 straight months, that is the signal the floor is forming. Financing offers show desperation levels, 0% for 72 months is a last resort move. When dealers pull back to normal financing terms, it means they are no longer panicking. That is a sign inventory is moving at sustainable prices. Repo listings measure pain. If repossession volume stays flat or drops for 3 consecutive months, it means fewer owners are walking away. That suggests values have stabilized enough that people see a path forward. Spring traffic determines everything. If showrooms are busy in April and May 2025, the market is healing. If foot traffic stays weak despite aggressive pricing, the correction has further to go. These signals will not all flip at once. But when 3 out of 5 start moving in a positive direction, the worst is likely behind us. The sun sets over a Florida dealership lot. Rows of 2025 models sit with bright orange price tags taped to windshields. Each tag tells the same story. A number crossed out. A lower number written beneath it. Hope wrapped in markdown. Somewhere, a buyer walks the docks with a calculator in hand, trying to time the bottom. Somewhere, a dealer stares at a floor plan statement, deciding whether to hold or fold. Somewhere, a family debates whether this year is finally the year to buy or the year to wait one more season. The boats remain. The water has not changed, but the numbers have. And in this industry, the numbers decide everything. This is the 2025 reset, or the beginning of the reckoning. Time will tell which story we are living through. But for now, the boats sit, the prices drop, and the dealers keep waiting for the phone to ring.